recognize Lieutenant Colonel Wood.
Thank you. I am Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Wood. I'm a member of the Utah National Guard with 24 years of service as a Special Forces soldier. I was mobilized for the Winter Olympics 2002, Afghanistan from September of 2003 to May of 2004, and for counterterrorism work in the southern Philippines from August of 2007 to May of 2008. I currently work for the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation as an Upper Colorado Regional Security Officer. I am responsible to Reclamation for a security program that oversees 58 high and significant hazard dams in 5 western states, one of which is Glen Canyon Dam, a national critical infrastructure facility. Upon hearing of the death of Ambassador Stevens, and later the congressional inquiry, I identified myself to my congressional representative staff as a person with intimate knowledge of the security situation prior to the attack. I was subsequently contacted and began a dialogue with staff investigators. I made a personal decision to come forward with information and do not represent DoD or any government agency. I had unique access and placement to many government leaders and agencies while working in Libya. I feel duty-bound to come forward in order to inform and provide a portion of ground truth information. I feel a sense of honor for those individuals who have died in the service of their country. I realize much of my work in Libya was entangled in sensitive government work, and I must be careful not to betray the trust and confidences that have been placed in me. The killing of a U.S. ambassador is a rare and extraordinary thing and requires our attention as a people. As a citizen, I made the determination that this outweighs all other interests and will risk whatever circumstances may result from my testimony. I served as Site Security Team Commander in Libya from 12 February to 14 August of this year, 2012. I was mobilized from the Utah National Guard into Title 10 status and reported to Special Operations Command Africa, SOC Africa, which serves directly under AFRICOM. I was detailed in Title 22 status to the Department of State and assumed command of the SST. The SST element consisted of 16 members. It is my understanding that it was crafted by the National Security Council to meet the demanding security challenges facing the Department of State and their requirement to reestablish diplomatic relations with a post-Gaddafi or free Libya. The SST loaned considerable support to the Department of State's security posture in this uncertain and volatile environment. The SST's mission was to support and answer to the Chief of Mission in Libya. I worked directly for the Regional Security Officer. We provided security support, medical support, communications support for every facet of security that covered the embassy. As the SST commander, I had a seat on the country team. I was closely involved with the operational planning and support to the RSO's security objectives. The embassy staff lived and worked together at 2 locations in Tripoli and embassy property in Benghazi. The SST supported security movements for diplomatic officers in and around Tripoli and other parts of Libya as their work required. On 2 occasions, I sent SST members to Benghazi to support and bolster security at that location. The SST was closely integrated with regular diplomatic security agents working directly for the RSO, as well as mobile security deployment teams. I traveled to Benghazi on 2 occasions with the RSO, once with the RSO to evaluate the security situation there, and once to conduct some work for the Defense Attaché's office. I was there a second time in June when the UK ambassador's convoy was attacked. I responded with DS agents in order to help provide medical and security assistance to wounded UK security personnel. I conducted a post-attack investigation of the ambush or assault. I regularly met with and held frequent conversations with Ambassador Kretz and Stevens, the other members of the security team. In June, when Eric Nordstrom rotated out, I was the senior member of the country team with the exception of the Ambassador Stevens. He lived and worked closely together in an atmosphere that is common to an expeditionary post. Ambassador Stevens was an avid runner and played tennis as well. The SST was heavily involved in performing his security detail when he ran. I ran with him on several occasions. The SST provided an important link for the country team to SOC Africa with its intelligence assets and resources. There was a good exchange of information between SOC Africa and the RSO. There was a great working relationship between SST and diplomatic security agency and the MSD members of the embassy posts throughout Libya. I reported 3 times a week through a video teleconference to SOC Africa and sent daily situation reports. I had the communications capability to provide a direct link to SOC Africa 24/7. I no longer have access to email or documents that I work with on a daily basis, as much of this was contained on AFRICOM servers and computers that I work through. My recollection of dates is mostly from memory, and I will need to re-access that information in order to specify dates with greater certainty. The State Department's decision not to extend SST security work beyond the 5th of August terminated our security work in this capacity. The military members of my team were in the process of changing status from Title 22 back to Title 10 shortly before my departure. The situation on the ground was continuously updated with reports that I sent to my military chain of command and CC'd the RSO on. The RSO sent information on security and threats in a similar manner up his chain of command. While the sound of gunfire in and around Tripoli subsided from February to April, the situation remained unstable. Libyans struggled with the transitional government that hesitated to make decisions and were forced to rely upon local and tribal militias with varying degrees of loyalty. In late spring, the police were allowed to return to work to help with traffic, but were limited to that only. Fighting between militias was common when I departed. Militias appeared to be disintegrating into organizations resembling freelance criminal operations. Targeted attacks against Westerners were on the increase. In June, the ambassador received a threat on Facebook with a public announcement that he'd like to run around the embassy compound in Tripoli. When I arrived in February, there were 3 MSD teams on the ground. Ambassador Kretz was confronted with having to lose one of those teams and requested an equal number of regular diplomatic security agents. The ambassador struggled with renewing the SST beyond April 5th. That's Ambassador Stevens. The second MSD team was withdrawn shortly after Ambassador Kretz's departure, and the last MSD team was restricted to performing restricted from performing security work only, and limited only to training local guard force members in July. The remaining MSD was withdrawn at about the same time the SST security work was terminated. The RSOs struggled to maintain these losses with regular diplomatic security personnel. The security in Benghazi was a struggle and remained a struggle throughout my time there. The situation remained uncertain, and reports from some Libyans indicated it was getting worse. Diplomatic security remained weak. In April, there was only 1 U.S. diplomatic security agent stationed there. The RSO struggled to obtain additional personnel, but was never able to attain the numbers he felt comfortable with. I hope the information I provide will be put together with data points from others, so an accurate picture can be obtained. We need to be dedicated to understanding the problems that surrounded this attack in order to find a solution. Our failure to do so will result in repeated instances that allow our adversaries to take an advantage over us. My purpose in conveying this information is to prevent their ability to take the life of another ambassador or kill another valuable and talented public servant working for the diplomatic service of their country.